Okay, I'm here in Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe, just finishing up a trip with my fantastic client, Mark Neely, who we're going to have a few words from now. We've done, 10 days in Botswana, basically, and then a couple of nights here in Vic Falls. So, without further ado, because Mark is on his last day and we're going to have to go to the airport fairly soon. So let's switch over and see what Mark has thought of his trip to Botswana and Zimbabwe.
Hi, I'm Mark Neely. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And this is my first time in Africa.
Yeah.
It's quite exciting.
Yeah. So what made you decide to come to Africa?
Just kind of looking for a place to go and started talking to Andy.
Yeah.
And we managed to work this out and met up and have had a great week and a half traveling around, seeing animals and waterfalls and everything you can want to see while you're here.
Did you know anything much about Botswana before you came? What were you expecting?
I had read Andy's material. I'd gone online a bit, but I had not severely researched it. I just knew it was a place to see animals and have a new experience.
Okay, that's good. Was there anything you were nervous or uncertain about before the trip?
Just getting to know my host and my guide and verifying that everything was going to go as it did, and it went as good, if not better, than I ever expected.
That's great. So what was the process of planning and booking? How did it go? It was kind of last minute for us both, I think, and
we both had a lot of things going on. I had a lot of little obstacles I had to work around, but in the end it all worked out and I cleared them up and was ready to go.
Okay, so we're just going to go briefly through where we stayed. So the first day we met, well, we almost didn't meet, did we? Because it was quite a
My flight was a little tight, but I went running up to the gate and Andy said, "I hope you're Mark."
You were literally the last person on the plane, so that was perfect. So he just made it. And then we had quite a long flight from Addis to Maun, and we got there. We had to wait in line, unfortunately, for quite some time. But then we were taken to the domestic flight, and we flew down to Grasslands. So what was your first impression when you arrived there? Because that was really your first place to stay in Africa. It's kind of an unusual place, Grassland Safari Lodge.
It's a very nice facility. The people are amazingly hospitable. We were met at their private runway and taken in and just started from there.
Yeah, it was good.
The food was good, the animals were good, the facility was good.
What would you say was the most memorable experience about Grasslands? Or anything that surprised you?
Grasslands has the rhinos was probably the most surprising and overall the best part of it.
Yeah.
But just the people experience too.
We did a Bushman experience, right? That was quite interesting. But we actually saw, I think that rhino was there every single day. It just came to us.
He kept coming to visit, which was nice. You don't expect that.
Exactly. And then from there, what did we do then? Then we got back on the plane and flew back up to Maun, and then we drove to Gomoti on the bumpy roads.
Probably the worst roads, if you can call them that I've ever seen. But it was quite an adventure. Saw some very interesting animal things on the way there.
We did. So we stopped at the basket weaving, and then we went into Gomoti, and that's right. And then there was a lot of water there, right? Because they call it River Lodge, and goodness me, there was a lot of water because of the flooding. But it was. What did you think of that place? The rooms, and we were literally on the water.
The rooms were great. It looked like something from Tahiti.
Yeah, it was like over the water villas, right?
Over the water. The people, the food, and the animal life that we saw was outstanding.
It's good, eh? And then we did that game trip. The next day we did the game drive. It was a long drive, but then we went into the community area because we were supposed to go into Kwai, but it was flooded. So we went there, and then we had a nice experience with lions. We kind of stumbled upon them in the middle of their passion.
First lions we saw were making love. It was interesting. It didn't bother them that we were there.
No, it didn't. We were right next watching them the whole time. Anyway, that was interesting. We also did a short Makoro trip on the local canoe, which was nice.
It's very relaxing and scenic, and learned a little bit about the fauna and such.
That's true. And then the next day we drove to Saguni, and that was really a long drive. So we had quite an experience on the way.
There's a pride of lions had taken down a giraffe and were consuming it. The cubs, the female lions were all out there. It was quite a welcoming to the area.
Of course it was. It was there when we were on our way in. Yeah, and it was right in the middle of the road. It was so strange. So that was quite something.
Fortunately, there wasn't a lot of traffic, and we were able to spend time and watch and take pictures and had very little interruption.
And then we got to, so after that long journey, we got to Saguni Safari Lodge and arrived at camp and had a little briefing. And as we sat down to have, I think we had a beer as we arrived, we got some visitors right next to us.
There were elephants in the marsh. There was an elephant right behind the building we were in. There were elephants down the stream or river, wherever it was, and it was very scenic.
And you had some close encounters with a big four-legged friend.
Yes, they were. I was warned they could be there, and I heard this crunching sound, and around the corner comes a elephant facing me.
Yeah.
He didn't look particularly friendly, so I got off the trail and behind a tree. And
the best way.
Then he just walked on by.
Yeah. That wasn't your everyday experience, that's for sure. Although it happened to you every day.
It happened again, too. And,
you saw one in the evening and then the next morning.
The elephants were very comfortable in that area.
They were.
Walking down the sidewalks.
It's pretty amazing, huh? We also saw some good lion encounters there. And what about the camp? Did you like your room at Saguni as well? You had a tent there. We were quite a long way from the main area through the elephants, but
the room was nice. It was a little bit more remote than most, but it was nice, and you never knew what was going to be outside.
That's true. Okay.
So you just were careful going out the door, and took your time if you needed to.
Exactly. Okay, and then from there we had a little surprise because we were expecting to drive, and that would have been a long day's drive all the way up to Chobe. Would have taken us the whole day because the flooding is quite extreme this year and the roads are terrible. But we managed to get it changed, so we flew. So we drove out to the airstrip at Kauai, a Kauai private airstrip. So they'd moved it because even the closest airstrip was underwater. So we had to make a plan. But we then flew 55 minutes up to Chobe, or Kasane rather, landed there, and then we met our driver for the mobile safari, which was really a unique experience. And then we were literally under canvas in the middle of the bush. And what did you feel about that?
I enjoyed the whole experience. We had an outstanding guide. He took his time, explained things, made sure we saw lots of animals in great settings, and then took us to the encampment, which I was a little hesitant about, but it worked out very well with the nice tents covering the food was outstanding. Even the bucket shower made it fun.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun thing to do. You got to do it once. And then and how many elephants we saw there, eh? Elephants and lions. That was basically the I would say the highlights of Chobe. It's quite something. Eh? Close.
We saw lots of elephants one day. The next day we only saw 2 until we got till sundown, and then they were all gathered on the river bank and had a great time photographing them. Very scenic.
Yeah, that was really something, and they were really close. And we heard lions every night, didn't we? When we were every night and every morning, the lions were quite close to our camp. But
that adds to it. That adds to the experience. The lions roar.
Yeah, it was really good. And then when we left, we went. We had one last encounter with the lions on the way back to Kasane. That was very nice. The last morning, when you kind of think everything's over, and then we saw that another pride of maybe 8 lions and came right close to the vehicle. So that was nice. And then back to Kasane, and then we did a quick boat trip on the river That was quite fun as well.
But trip on the river, I wasn't sure what to expect because it took off from a fairly populated area, and not too far away we started running into the crocodiles. Yeah. Crocodiles and big lizards and a hippo, and then we saw as many elephants as you could want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were enjoying watching us, I think.
We were having lunch with elephants on one side and crocodile on the other. That was pretty unique as well. That was nice. So then we going back to Kasane and drove across the border, which was very easy. We crossed the border super fast. And then we were picked up by our Zimbabwe. We said goodbye to Chika, our guide from Botswana, and we were picked up by our Zimbabwean guide, a very enthusiastic driver, Joseph, who gave us a good rundown about Zimbabwe on the way.
Gave us a good explanation of what to expect and what to eat and drink, and how to enjoy the visit to Victoria.
Yeah. What do you think of Victoria Falls? It's a kind of a small town, but big attractions.
Yeah, it's a great little town. I really enjoyed the hotel we stayed in.
Yeah, that's where we are now.
Helicopter flight over the falls is a great intro. And we hiked around the falls and went to see the bridge.
Yeah, historic bridge. Yeah, that was really a nice day. And then we had some nice dining experiences as well. Lookout Cafe, and then last night we went to Dusty Road. It's like a township experience, so that was quite unusual.
Dusty Road was very enjoyable. It was fun. It was cultural and experiencing the people and getting to talk to the owner and find out why they do what they do and how they do it.
Yeah, it was really nice. Okay, so that was our trip. I mean, I think I know what you're going to say, but what was probably the most memorable moment you've had on the trip?
I would say that the giraffe in the middle of the road with the lions on it was the most. That was quite a welcome. It was only our third day, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was so unexpected and so what you hope to see but never think you're going to see.
That's right. Is there anything about Africa, the people, the landscape, the wildlife that really surprised you, or is it kind of what you were expecting? Or
I didn't know a lot what to expect, but the people are all outstanding, friendly, helpful.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Hospitable. They enjoy what they're doing.
Yeah.
They love their country.
They do. That's true. What about if someone's thinking about coming to Africa for the first time, or, it's a little bit nervous maybe, or would you give them what would you say for someone who's like, should I go or should I not go, or is there anything I need to worry about?
I think you should definitely go. You need to talk to Andy and find out what to expect, do a little homework, understand the weather, the conditions, and what you're going to be encountering.
Sure.
It makes it a lot easier if you're dressed right.
Yeah.
Because it can be really cold in the morning and really hot in the middle of the day, and then really cold at night again.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Did you find the pace of the trip was good? I mean, normally we would stay maybe 3 nights in each place, so we moved quite. But I don't know. What did you think about the pace, and was it okay for you?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the changes, and I think we had 3 nights one place and 2 nights the others.
Yeah.
I was never bored. No. It was always something to do, and nice environment.
Good. Okay. What about the logistics, the flights, the transfers? Did it all seem to go okay? You weren't sort of worried that we weren't going to get picked up, or?
God, it's amazing how well these organizations do work together. Whether it's the guides or it's the people overall who've coordinated this, they seem to understand the needs of people.
They do. Okay, we're nearly out. What about the value? I mean, it's obviously a significant investment. Do you feel like it was worth the money?
I do. I know I enjoyed it for everything I spent was well worthwhile.
Perfect.
And I spent very little after I got here. Everything was covered, everything was taken care of.
Good stuff. How did you find working with, say, the Grown Up Travel Company? Working with me, has it been okay? I'm not holding a gun to his head, by the way.
It was very good. Andy.
Oh, sorry, you're getting the outside buff.
It was very good. Andy, I knew nothing about Andy when this started, and so I was a little hesitant and didn't always answer or get back as fast as I should have, but he was patient. He led me through it, and he explained things And eventually I realized that anybody who was this thorough in his communication with me was going to be a good person to travel with.
Thank you. Okay. So if someone came to you and said they were thinking about booking an African safari, what would you tell them? Would you say, oh, you can try and do it yourself or use a specialist? Or, well, I think you see the logistics are quite complicated. And
I don't think I'd want to try to do this on my own. It was very beneficial to have someone who's been here and been there, done that.
Yeah.
And has experienced all these things and knows the areas. When we had to make a last-minute travel change, we got a flight instead of drive-in, and it just all worked out. It was pretty seamless.
Perfect. That's great. Okay. I think that's about it, really. If you had to sum this trip up in one sentence, that's an interesting one. I don't know how you do that, but
I'd just say I'm really glad I did it.
That's nice. That's nice. Okay. Anything you have to add? Anything I haven't asked you? But come to the end of my list of questions.
I would just say that Andy's a good guy to deal with. He's knowledgeable. He speaks the language of the people here and of me. And having looked at other people and other packages, Andy puts it together as well or better than anybody else I've seen.
Wow, thank you so much. And I would also like to add that Mark has been an absolute pleasure to travel with. And I really appreciate the time we've had together. We're very open to new things. It's a bit out of your comfort zone in some ways for first time in Africa. And we had a good time.